I just bought this soda for $1.50. Whoa now. I mean, if you take that $1.50 and you multiply it by 7 days, that's $10 a week that you could be saving. And wait, hold on a minute. If you multiply that by 4 weeks in a month, you could be saving $40 to $50 a month. Wow. Whoa. Okay. Now, if you don't drink soda for a whole year, you could be saving $600. And if you take that even a step further, if you don't drink soda for a whole year, multiply that by 60 years, you could save $36,000. Yeah, and you'd also be dead. What's going on, guys? Welcome to the channel. I'm Bryce with Sane Sense, where, as always, we talk about everything from personal finance to real estate investing. Today we're talking about something called the Latte Factor and how it correlates to wasting money. Now, when we talk about the Latte Factor, this is not a boycott against Starbucks or anything like that. The latte is simply a metaphor for the tiny things that we buy each and every day, just those seemingly small purchases that over time bleed money out of our pockets. It's the candy bar that you buy at the gas station or the souvenir that you pick up at the airport gift shop. It's just these little things that we buy without really thinking about it, and they're different for each and every person. So your latte, for example, could be the Hulu or Netflix subscription that you haven't watched in 3 months, or it could be the gym membership that you're still paying for but haven't used in 2 years. So the term Latte Factor was coined by a guy by the name of David Bach, and he wrote a book. It's a New York Times bestseller. And he essentially, just like I explained earlier, he talks about these lattes that we buy in our life that just, it doesn't seem like that much money, but over time it adds up to be a big amount. So switching gears just a little bit, you may or may not have heard of something called the FIRE movement. FIRE stands for Financial Independence Retire Early. These are a group of people who pride themselves on having incredibly high savings rates, oftentimes saving 70% or more of their paycheck. They do this with the intent of retiring significantly earlier than age 67. Lots of people are retiring at 40 or 45 just because the amount that they've saved and then what little they let themselves live off of. The people who follow the FIRE movement are exactly the type of people who subscribe to the Latte Factor mentality. From time to time, I'll hang out on the internet and I'll just spend some time in these personal finance forums, and occasionally I'll spend time in the FIRE forum. Now, these types of people, they're really extreme. It seems to me that if you're not eating beans and rice for dinner every night and you haven't ditched your car for a bike that you ride to work every day, that you're living way beyond your means. Generally speaking, I feel like personal finance just kind of has this negative connotation attached to it. I think that's mostly just linked to the fact that people are embarrassed about their finances. They're kind of ashamed of at how they're doing, and we all realize that we should be doing better, but it's hard when you don't make enough and there's all these expenses and everything to just, you understand. And because of this, I feel like the FIRE movement is actually kind of hurting the industry. I feel like it just gives a bad name to it all. So the thing that kind of irks me the most is when I read, articles online and people do these crazy calculations that are just ridiculous, like I did at the beginning of this video. They'll make these really bold statements saying, okay, if you take your $5 latte, 5 days a week for the rest of the month, that's $100 a month, that's $1,200 a year. If you were to invest that over the next 30 years at 7% interest, you'll have $150,000. And you know what? They're not wrong. I mean, that's what the math does work out to. But you know what else? 30 years is a long ass time. Some point between now and the next 30 years, I'd like to live my life a little bit. If skipping a latte each and every day is the difference between you being financially independent or in financial ruin, we've got bigger problems. So let's stick with those same numbers that I talked about earlier. So $5 a day, 20 business days in a month, that's $100 a month or $1,200 a year, right? To me, $1,200 isn't exactly a small sum of money, but it also isn't going to make you wealthy. This is my biggest beef with the Latte Factor. They make it out to seem that ditching your daily coffee is the difference between you being in financial turmoil or having gobs of money. I used to work with a guy named Steve. He's quite a bit older than me, and he's looking to retire probably within the next 2 or 3 years. Knowing that I make these videos for YouTube and just have a general interest in finance, oftentimes we would spark up conversations regarding finance and, other investing topics, you name it. He once admitted to me that he was really nervous about retirement coming up in a couple years because he admittedly just didn't have enough saved to sustain him throughout the rest of his life. He told me that he had about $400,000 saved, which isn't, it's not a small amount of money, but when you divide that up over the next 25 years, that really that's not a lot to sustain you. And then after saying that, he went on to say something else which totally caught me off guard. He went on to tell me that 15 to 20 years earlier, when he was 45 years old, his wife passed away due to cancer. He told me, yeah, we probably could have been a little more frugal than we had been. We bought all the toys, and we probably could have skipped our annual trip to Hawaii. But you know what? I wouldn't trade the memories with my wife to have that amount of money back today. And that lesson has always stuck with me. Obviously, there has to be a happy medium, right? We can't be penny pinchers, but we also can't splurge all the time either. There's got to be a fine balance. So this is my recommendation. Pick 1 or 2 things that are really important to you, budget for those, set money aside for those on things that you can splurge on, and the rest of the things that are not as important to you, cut back on those and save money in those areas. For myself personally, I really enjoy eating out. If you were to look at my food budget, you would probably think, yikes, man, you need to cut back. That's a lot of money. You could save a ton of money right there. But for me personally, I love it. I really enjoy eating. I love tasting the different types of food, but more importantly, it's time that I get to sit down and enjoy time with my wife that's uninterrupted, and it's just one-on-one, her and I. And it's just something that we like to do. And for you, that may not be important. You may enjoy cooking at home more, and you could probably get the same quality time with your spouse or whoever just, by having a night in at home. And that's totally fine. That's up to you. If you like the fancy toys and the fun vacations and the trips, that's fine too. That is your thing, but you need to make sure that you budget for those, you set the money aside in a separate account, and that everything else you cut back and you save. The thing that sparked the whole idea for this video was an article that USA Today posted today actually, and it's titled, "You Don't Need That, Average American Spends Almost $18,000 a Year on Non-Essentials." And along with that comes this graphic. Let's take a look at these. $96 on rideshare. Yep, that's non-essential. Say you're in a sketchy part of town and you need a ride home. Nah, that's not important. Just lay down and die. That's fine. You don't need to get home. $94 on personal grooming. Non-essential. Let's throw that out the window. We don't need that. You may not have a partner or a job, but at least you have $94 in your pocket. Here I was all this time thinking people got wealthy through investing and starting businesses. Turns out they just weren't getting haircuts. $174 on lunch. These darn millennials eating lunch, how dare they? Okay, I'll stop now, but I couldn't help but laugh when I saw this because some of these are just ridiculous. This chart in no way reflects the majority of people. In fact, this is probably a very small subset of people that they're targeting. So here's the great thing. There's a reason they call it personal finance, because it's personal, it's individual to each and everyone's individual situation. I guess in closing, just trying to wrap all this up, what I'm trying to say is, yes, obviously cut back where you can, be smart with your finances, get out of debt, save money, invest, but ultimately you have to live and you need to be able to enjoy your money from time to time as well. You shouldn't have to put off gratification forever until you retire and then enjoy your life. You need to be able to enjoy your life right now within reason. I think a lot of times, especially personal finance bloggers, they just tend to lose sight of that. That's it for this video, guys. Thanks for watching. Hopefully you learned something. If you disagree with me, be sure to put it down in the comments and we can fight about it there. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next week.